Hey losers, I'm Coral. Welcome to my channel. If you're joining me for the first time today, hello! I like to read horror books and books that are horror adjacent, so if you're into that, you're in the right place. Welcome to the party. Today I'm here with the books that I've managed to finish so far in November. It's been very rainy the last couple days. It's very dreary today. I love it. Maybe you get some nice rain ambiance as you're listening. And you know, my first 2 weeks of reading this month have been actually pretty good. I've read, mostly things that I really ended up liking. In total, I have finished 7 books. Only one of these was off of my TBR, which I kind of expected. I really needed to get caught up with some arcs that I have, some copies I got for review, things of that nature. I've read 2,447 pages so far this month, which is about 163 pages per day. The oldest book I've read so far this month was published in 2020, so we're keeping it very modern so far, and the most recent was a 2025 release. I've read one thriller, one that was sort of a historical fantasy. I'd say probably more fantasy than historical, if I'm getting nitpicky, which I do like to be. I do like to be nitpicky, and 5 horror books. As far as series go, there's one book I read that started a series, and one book I read that continued a series, and I'm planning on reading the next one next month and finishing up the entire series before the year ends. I don't know, when the last time, I can't tell you the last time that I finished an entire series in a year. This is a 3-book series. It's not long, but I am just really terrible about reading series. Don't know why. Actually, I think part of it, I was thinking about this because let's just start with this book. Don't Fear the Reaper by Stephen Graham Jones, which was published in 2023. I think sometimes it's because I really liked the first book. Because it does, well, I don't know, not always. I don't know. I'm really generalizing something that's not very general because I'm not exactly sure why I don't finish series. Aside from the fact that I don't like it anymore. Because I'm fine saying that. Great. Baron heard me talking, and now he's going to try to harass me. I put a cone on him because he's been licking a spot on his arm, and now he's figured out that if he meows enough, my daughter will take the cone off because she feels bad for him. And he's okay. We do let him take it off to groom himself. He just will meow now. He's remembered that I exist because I said a word out loud. So in this case though, with the Indian Lake trilogy by Stephen Graham Jones, I think part of it was because I liked the first one so much and it was really hard for me to pick up the second one, partly because I'm concerned about what if I don't like the next one as much. Also, I have a really hard time I don't know what it is, because I'm fine picking up standalone books. I do it all the fucking time, but for some reason, completing a book in a series and picking up the next one just seems annoying. I don't know. It's not annoying. It's I just don't want to do it almost. I don't know why. It's a weird avoidant behavior I have. And I don't know why I do it, because I loved this book. I think I might even like it more than the first one, which I also really loved. The first book in this series is My Heart is a Chainsaw. We're following a teenage girl named Jade Daniels who has a troubled life. She's just dealing with a lot of shit and basically has been raising herself, even though she does have parents in the picture. And as kind of a coping mechanism, although she doesn't want to admit it, she is obsessed with slasher films. So it's everything in her life relates back to a slasher flick. When there are murders in her small Idaho town, the first thing she thinks is, this is a slasher killer. This is the beginning of a slasher movie. And everyone else is oh my god, shut up about it. So love that book. I think the second one is even better. I think. In this, we're following the events 4 years after what happens in the first book. And so we get some characters who are back and some who are not. And this one also takes place in Proof Rock, which is the small town, during like a blizzard. So that was fun because the first one is kind of a summer, I almost said summer movie, kind of a summer book. This one, definitely a winter book. And let me tell you, I really like this. I think that there is really great character growth in this. It isn't just all J. Daniels talking about slasher movies. I mean, there is some in there, but not like in the first one. It was a really great addition to the story of J. Daniels, and I can't wait to read the third one. I almost forgot to tell you about the books I did not have physical copies of. That's why I do it first, but also I forgot because I was thinking about book series. This next book, the author reached out to me, asked if I would like a review copy. I said yes, because this was a book that I was interested in already, and like kind of had it on like I took a screenshot of it when the publisher announced it because I was like, this looks really good. And that is Eradicator by David Simmons. So I was super excited when he was like, do you want to review this? And I was like, hell yeah. And he emailed me the PDF of it, and or EPUB, I don't know. He emailed me the digital file for it, and he said, I hope you fuck with it. And let me tell you, I fucked with it. It was really good. In this, we're following a young woman named Jada who works at a hospital, and she has kind of an interesting job, the car seat technician at the hospital. And she's kind of a fucking weirdo. She is very strange. We're in her head as the reader, you know, and like the thoughts she has and even the things that she says to people, the actions she takes are all very strange, but like kind of wonderful. And I thought that this was actually, it's not supposed to be like funny, like it's not a horror comedy book, but it was funny. So like the whole thing, it's very character driven. There's not a huge amount of plot. It's just like Jada losing her shit in a way that is like so insane. And there are things that are happening like in the world around her where you're like, is that really happening? Is this the world being weird, or is this like Jada being unreliable, or Jada imagining these things happening but like they're really not? It's just, I don't know. I think it might be like a total mix of all these things, but it is really a super bonkers story that's really entertaining. There are some, you know, you want to check content warnings. All in all, really liked this book. I sped through it. It was really entertaining and a great addition to the Apocalypse Party Press catalog. I feel like it fits right in there. So if you've read any of the other books that they've put out from different authors, I think that Eradicator fits right in. It's a good one. Okay, the next one I listened to on audio, I got this from my library, and it was Don't Let Him In by Lisa Jewell, who I find very entertaining as far as like domestic thrillers go. I don't read a lot of thrillers, but it is something that it's almost like a palate cleanser, because usually they don't get as dark as the horror books that I read, and also if they're a good one, they're fast-paced enough so like I want to keep reading or listening to it, and it's just kind of like junk food for my brain. So this one, not my favorite Lisa Jewell book. It was not my favorite. It felt like it went on forever. I actually thought that it had to be like a 400, 500 page book, because it was like, the audiobook was like 20 hours or something crazy like that. Maybe not 20 hours, maybe like 12. But still, that's like kind of long for a book that ended up being just average length. But the whole point of the story is that we're following this young girl named, oh, that's right, her name is Ash. So this young woman named Ash, she's like college aged. Her dad recently dies, and her mom gets this mysterious letter from somebody claiming to have known Ash's dad in the past. He was like a restaurateur kind of guy, or a chef or something. He worked in the restaurant industry, but not as like a line cook. Like he owned a place or worked for a fancy place or some shit like that. So this guy claims to have known the father in the past and kind of wiggles his way into their little family. And the mom is like really charmed by this handsome man, of course, because women just drop their pants at any opportunity, especially if they're grieving. And so, yeah, as you can tell, this is one of the problems I have with this book. So the guy, he's just so boring, and I mean, you know, he's like not a great guy, and it's just all like everything about him is so average and boring. It kind of perpetuates this idea that if you treat women just like kind of nicely, they will do anything for you. Anything. And it's like so annoying. It's really annoying to me, I guess, that idea. And this book was pretty boring. None of it was really thrilling or particularly like, you know, when we got to the end, I wasn't like, oh my God, I wasn't like gasping or surprised by anything that happened to this. It was just really boring. My novella that I was trying to finish at the end of last month, Bluejay by Megan Stockton. This came out in 2023 also, I do believe. And this book, tiny little novella about 3 friends who are kind of edgelords, if I'm being honest. They just like find disturbing things on the internet to share with each other, really like gore hounds into watching like real videos of people getting hurt and things like that. And one of them secures them tickets to this theater showing what he thinks is like a realistic but fake snuff film. It's not that. And so things like very quickly go badly for these friends. I thought that this was all right. It's not something that I think I like will linger with me. It is very bloody and very gory, a little more on the extreme horror side of things, although like not anything I couldn't stomach, which of course everybody's different. But I don't know. I liked it. It's not my favorite book of the year. So next, I'd like to tell you about Moonflow by Karella. This is a book that came out this year, just a couple months ago, and I requested a copy from Orbit and they gave me one. I was so excited. Also, I just have to say, when I was reading this, I love this, like, however they make these books like this, like so floppy and pliable, but not like shitty. Maybe it has to do with like being a paperback and having, you know, a certain girth to it, but I just love when they're like this. It makes it so much easier to read when they just like flop open, you know? So Moonflow is about a young woman named Sarah who grows psilocybin mushrooms, psychedelic mushrooms, and sells them. This is her only source of income at the point we are in the story. She's fallen on rough times and hears about this mushroom called the King's Breakfast that grows in this kind of creepy area in like a national forest where like lots of people go missing, things of that nature. She decides she's gonna... You're okay. She decides she's going to try to find this mushroom so that she can breed it. Breed it? I don't know. So that she can also grow them. She's gonna collect some spores. She gets hooked up with this guy who works for the foresting industry, national forest, I don't know, park service, that's what I'm thinking of. He's not like super into this idea, but he does it anyway. And they're in this forest and it's very creepy. There was a part in here, I don't want to give it away, but it's like it has to do with forgetting things that happen to you, but like you doing it to yourself on purpose. You know, there's this thing that happens where that happens and it really like made my skin tingle. It was like so creepy for some reason, like the thought of having to do that in a forest. So very, I mean, as a whole, this isn't super creepy. It's just very weird. There's also this commune of women that live in this forest where like nobody goes, and they follow this woman called Mother Moonflow, who is like straight out of Charlie Manson's group, right? It's all groovy, man, kind of stuff. And so she's a really vibrant character, and really all of the characters in this are very bold and interesting. To wrap things up here, I really fucking liked this. I thought it had a really interesting plot line. The characters like blew me out of the water. It was very funny. Very funny. A lot of trippy, weird things that happen. A lot of very funny things. Some like ironically funny. Some just very fucking funny. Some of the things that the characters do in this are it makes it feel very surreal. And I just really fucking liked this book. I was really looking for some fall feelings, and so I decided to pick up Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Cesare. I watched this movie when it came out. I was lucky enough that my theater was playing it, and me and my 12-year-old went to see it. We both really liked it. I went and I was like, this is just going to be like some sort of Blumhouse slop that like I watched, and like maybe my teenager kind of liked it, but I ended up really liking this movie. It was great, and so I really wanted to read the book afterwards. And let me tell you, like I've read a little of Adam Cesare, because he's written quite a few things, but I really wasn't super interested in like a YA type of thing. But after watching the movie, it was like, actually, I kind of want to read this. And you know, I liked it just as much as the movie. This follows a teenager named Quinn who has some like hard things that have happened in her recent past with her family. She moves to this really small, like middle of the country town where there's cornfields and everybody worked for like one industry that went out of business. So it seems like a pretty impoverished place for the most part. But she gets in with this crowd of kids who some of the adults think are kind of like a bad crowd. And there is a slasher on the loose that dresses like the mascot for this company, this industry company that everyone used to work for, called Friendo. That's the clown's name. Of course, you have to wonder why. Why would anyone be after this girl who just moved to this place? And you find out. What I like most about this is it really just gets into it very quickly, like into the, oh, people are dying here, and it doesn't let up until the very end. So yes, I like this a lot. All right, finally, I read this beautiful book called Katabasis by RF Kuang. This is a fantasy book, kind of, I don't know, it's also like deals with largely academia. It has a historical feel to it, I think because of where they are, but there's no clear indicator for me, I guess, like what time they're in their like lives before they take a trip to hell, because that's what the characters in this are doing. They are, what level of education are they? Because like they're still kind of students, but they're definitely not like undergrad students. Anyway, this young woman named Alice and this young man named Peter decide to take a trip to hell to rescue their professor who died recently. And so this is like Dante's Inferno, where there are different levels to hell. And I don't know like a ton about how that works besides the levels. So I don't know if the way that hell is set up here, because it's almost like you have to do, the souls have to do something to pass the level. And I don't know if that's how, you know, the Dante's Inferno shit work, but that's how it works in this book. And so you're following these characters as they're traveling through hell, trying to find like which level of hell is our professor in. Is he in wrath? Is he in, I don't know what the other ones are, like passion, lust, obsession, whatever it is, greed, pride. Where is he? They have to find him while like reconciling like broken friendship between themselves and reconciling the relationship both of them have with their professor and their lives outside of school. These students are like obsessive. They're in a very competitive school, and it's like a magic school. There is some magic, but it's almost how like alchemy is very like scientific. It's not just fantastical. And you know, the things that they're doing here too are almost scientific, like philosophy, sciencey magic stuff. So I felt like that was really interesting and very clever. This is like just a really smart book. I really enjoyed it. I especially like the ending. I really like the journey these characters went on within themselves as well, and just all the weird things that happened to them in hell. So those are the things that I have read so far in November. What's the next half of the month gonna be like? I don't know. Thanksgiving is the holiday that I host for our family, which I love doing, but you know, there's some work to that. Like making sure my house is cleaner than it is right now. I technically don't have like school off except for on Thanksgiving, so that kind of fucking sucks. I don't know why they do that. So I have to figure out how to balance all this shit. Hopefully I will have some good things to tell you about at the end of the month, but I don't know. I can't tell you. But thanks for watching this video anyway, and I will see you later. Goodbye!